Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, another busy day, busy earning day. While the market was kind of very choppy and tight, we definitely had some good news plays in the large caps on the earnings. Definitely had quick losers in the morning, couple of quick losers, but we were able to get some later midday and all day that setups that we will recap. Before I start, quick introduction to anybody new to my community or anybody new to my Twitter, YouTube, or watching these videos for first time. These trade recaps and teachings are from the any trade ideas that I share in the community, or any trades we take in the community. Either I'm taking it or not taking it, or the trades being taken by my traders in my community in our live community platform, where we have all the tools, the scanners, the news bots, and various kind of other tools for trading, investing. So we trade with a repeatable system. I have a repeatable system that's thousands of traders across the world use. I have a repeatable setup, and we focus on repeatable setups. Everything is repeatable for us. Every day before the market open, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day trading, and as well as any other ideas. And this is the game plan for today. You could see ANET, Reddit, Uber, Lyft, Shop, UPST, and among others. I usually start the plays which are my main focus for the day. So we will recap few of those. We will recap a couple of the losers and the big winners in the community. And not only that, I also provide levels in the morning to the community. Today the levels on SMCI were pretty handy, which came out pretty handy for the breakout. Similarly, the levels for AVGO, and we will recap those as well. In addition, I have a strategy, day 2, day 3 strategy that I built and I've been using for years. And this strategy usually provides us some good repeatable setups. That's why I always share my day 2, day 3 list with my team, with my everybody in the community, so that we can trade based upon these. We're trying to find opportunities to trade long or short. We do not get biased. We trade what our system tells us based upon our system and our support resistance pivots. So I'm usually on voice first few hours when the market opens, guiding everybody through the market, and how the market is doing, is it long or short. So today, this morning, I was, how I guided the market for this gap fill. We'll discuss that as well. So let's start with the first example. So the first one we're going to discuss today is bros, right? So bros is another example where you wait on the amateur move. I usually take a starter position on the amateur move, but you don't have to. You can wait on the amateur move and play the trend move. If I had not traded the amateur move, I would have saved the small loser that I had on bros short, but that was by design. I understand that it can bounce. I understand it's over the EMA clouds, but I still take a position to watch that if I get a follow through. But if I don't, right away I switch my short into a long position and make decent amount of profit. So let's see what was the guidance and what was the plan on bros today. So let's go. Bros the coffee shop. All right, here we go. So the plan on bros was gap fill under 3040, breakout over 3152. So the gap fill did not occur, although we tried, because it was an amateur move. There was no gap fill. So the 3037 was the support pivot. The resistance pivot was 3120, and there was another pivot at 3152. It beat analyst expectations. Revenue was up 40%. So fundamentally the news was good, but we also focus on our system. So let's see what happened. What did I see when the market opened? As you see, this candle drop to 3020. So that's why I started a short for the gap fill right in the first 2 minutes. But right away it swiped back to 31, 30-40 cents from my entry. And when the amateur move ended and it was bullish, that's when I decided that there's no more a long short, it's a long. So I closed the starter short, took that 40 50 cent loss on that bros short, and then I told everybody, short close, looking for long. And then we longed it, and the long target was 33. And you see this flag breakout that I gave in the pre-market. So you see that, right? 3152 breakout. So you don't have to trade, right? So everybody has to trade, find their own conviction. But I'm showing you how you could trade it, right? If you didn't trade the amateur move with me, and then you just traded the trend move, then you did better too. But even if you traded the amateur move, the trend move from 31.50 to breakout went to 33 bucks, right? So I lost 50 cents, but once we turned bullish, it was over $50, $60 profit, right? So covered the losses, made some profits. So the target was 33, and I told everybody move the stops break even, and once it broke 512 we were out. So you see we entered long here on this breakout. By the time we exited, we were still like 60 cents above from the breakout. So that was the bros trade this morning. Very nice trade, but I definitely want you guys to understand the difference between amateur move and trend move, how to manage that. Beautiful long winner. It was not an option play for me, it was a stock play, and it definitely worked out very nicely. Let's go to the next one. So next one was a big winner for us today. That was an all day short for us. The puts really went 100% on those. So let's see what was the plan on AFRM. So let's go back and look at our plan. So plan on AFRM was neutral bias. It was a choppy right now, but the support was 34.50, resistance was 36.50 and 37.50. As soon as the market opened, I see it breaking clouds, right? So I see it breaking the clouds, and and then it breaks our support, that 34.50, and that's why it's a short after that. So it's a short after that. If you did not even get that short whenever this break, then you can short later when it's if you can see, right, when I was talking about that after first 20 minutes, when it was breaking down, that's even at 34, it was a good short, and then it breaks some support here, and that we discussed in the pre-market right here, AFRM 34.50 support. So once that support is gone, it's completely a short, right? And I said watch under the clouds for the short, and all day guidance was it's still a short, still a bearish. The two targets I gave, 32 and 31.30, 32 and 31.30, and we met both the targets today. 100% on the puts, and nice $3 per share short. You risked $1, you made $3. Was beautiful trade for us for this AFRM. So the next one we're going to look at is, guys, UPST. So let's look at UPST. Let's go back and see what was our plan on UPST and how did we trade that. So let's go. So let's look at that. So UPST was our star play based on revenue, forecast miss, bearish bias to short the pops to the cloud. So that was our initial bias. 2050 support, resistance pivot was 22. So when the market opened, I saw that it's breaking out of the resistance pivot, so it's no longer a short. And even in the amateur move, it pushed right over the 512 clouds. You see here, it pushed right over the 512 clouds, so it was bullish. So I told everyone it's turning bullish over the clouds and scalping long. And then it pushed from 22 to 23 bucks, $1. And when it pulled back, I put these stops under the cloud. So you can see these stops right here, 21.65. And it was a scalp. I told everybody that's going to scalp. And I said I'm going to use the 512 stops, and that means either I use the cloud, but there's another cloud right under it. So I can't just use this cloud stop, right? So I decided to use a level, I use a level from the morning that was 21.65. And if it breaks under that, then I will stop out. And guess what? It bounced, it didn't even read, it bounced right from those clouds, 34.50, and then it reclaimed and it pushed back to 23 bucks. So there are two kind of trades here, right? Either you scalp long with me in the morning, or you wait for the setup. This is a midday setup. This is another repeatable setup, midday 34.50 curl setup. Defined risk, you add anywhere here, your risk is here, and 21.50, maybe you risk what, 30-40 cents, and then you make like almost $1. So that's a good risk reward, right? Even if you have if you're trading shares, let's say you buy 500 shares there, right? So 500 shares, you're risking what? You're risking $250, and you're probably making like $400 on that by end of the day, right? So okay, not a special risk reward, but a decent trade. So that was UPST today. So next one we're going to look at is the WYNN short. Let's just go to the pre-market. Let's see what was planning on WYNN. So planning on WYNN was gap fill under 98.65, long over that, resistance was 100 and 98.65 was support. So you see that, right? It's approaching the 100 psychological. 100 psychological level is always tough to beat. And it didn't even bounce. It right away at the open it failed, right? Right away it failed, and right away it showed me the weakness, and then I told everybody short the pops to the cloud. So I can go into the 1 minute just to show you, in case you say, hey Rip, you were late talking about it. But I try to tell the community as soon as I see something. So let's say, right, so 934, so it's pulled back to 96. Now we want to short the pops to the clouds. That means we want to short the pops on a 10-minute chart. So let's see what happens. It pops to 97.40, so you short there. That's where you short, still under the clouds. You see there's the risk on the clouds. This is the risk, right? And then you short it, and then it fades, right? Let's say if you got 97 entry, even then it faded to 96, then it faded to 95, then it faded to 94, right? So that was a $3 short. Let's say you get 96, even then it was a $2 short. But at 96 you're risking a little too much, so it's better to short the pops, right? So that's the golden rule when you are doing the shorts. So anyways, WYNN was another golden big short winner in the community. All right, guys. So let's look at Tesla now. So let's analyze how was Tesla today for us. So Tesla initially I shorted because it was breaking. It's the same concept that I explained it to you earlier, right? So I shorted the amateur move on Tesla to have a feel to see what it's doing, right? If it stays heavy, then I will add into my short. Let's say I usually short 1,000 shares, right? Or I take 10 contracts. I'll probably take 2 contracts, or I'll probably short 200 shares. And if it's working, I will add into my position. But the golden rule that I keep talking about is importance of the pre-market lows, right? And then we'll talk about how the market bounced. It held, and so you can see here short, right? Until the PM lows break, there's no direction. No direction. First 5 minutes. Over 172, we will turn bullish. As it pushed over 172, we turned bullish, close the short. 172, take the long $2 risk. Although I would prefer a $1 risk, but that's fine. We just take a small size and then we $2.06. It confirmed the long, and I gave the target of 174. Then it pushed. So it pushed 948. It pushed, pulled back, did not stop us out. Remember, the candle is higher lows. Then it finally touched my 174 target. Then it finally touched my another 176 target, and then when it breaks the cloud, you finally get out. So you see how we longed it over 172. We were still able to make $3 to $4, on the long side, right? So that was the trade. You can pause the screen and understand my comment and. All right, guys. Next one that we're gonna look at is D-Dog. So let's see what was D-Dog doing. So D-Dog, guys, D-Dog was our day 2. Remember, it had earnings yesterday. So this is my D-Dog day 2 strategy. So which I will probably discuss in a webinar soon. And so day 2, D-Dog, the levels were 112, 110, and 114. So 114 was basically our resistance pivot. As soon as the market opens, so you saw the pivot, and it's bullish for me. So that's a long. So that's what I tell everybody. Bullish, it's a long. And my community knows. Most of them have seen my teachings every day. They watch my recaps every day. They watch my webinars. So I don't even need to tell people to long it, right? All I need to tell is that it's a bullish on the day, and then I guide them as it goes further. If it's not working, I let them know, right? But anyways, so you see my guidance 938, and even after that guidance, it pushed from that breakout. It pushed into 116, held the 512s, then pushed into 117.50, right? So this is a resistance from yesterday, 117.50. So let's look at my comments. Nice push over the cloud, decent push from the morning idea. Now at a resistance, hold it at 10:55. I told everybody, hold it, let it work. And even after I said that, we pushed another dollar or so. So you see how from the 114 breakout, we pushed another $3 for the day. So that's a good day trade, right? You risk $1, you make $3. So that's a good trade. So D-Dog, beautiful day 2 setup, repeatable. right in front of you, timestamped comments. Let's go to the next. So let's look at shop today, right? So what was shop doing? So shop, it was a short idea. Let's go back to our plan on shop. What was the plan? So plan on the shop was EPS beat 6160 was a support, bearish bias on the cloud, reject, cautious of B minus bounces. So although it was rejecting the clouds, right? You see that it's rejecting the clouds, it's rejecting the 64, and but it did not convincingly break down under the pre-market lows and kept making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So when it did that, that's when I exited the short, took a small loss. But the point here is, I started here, 61s and kept holding. I got out at 62s. But the point here is that it's going sideways. There's no short. And it's all day was sideways. And that's what I was telling people on the trading floor, that is sideways. It's not really worth it being the short this action. If you are short, this is not the action you want to see, because the funds, the institutions, the market makers, they all are holding this level. You need to open your eyes and see what's happening, not just hold the short all day. Somebody told me, hey, if I was holding the short, it's burning the theta. Then you better get out. You're holding for 5-6 hours and the stock has done nothing, go sideways. So you should know that if trade has to work, it's going to work soon enough. It's not going to take 4 or 5 hours to work, right? So that's what I got out early. But anyways, a good lesson to learn. Understand when the short works, what you would like to see: pre-market lows break, higher, lower highs, lower lows, right? So good lesson there on short. So next one, guys, we're gonna look at is CPNG. CPNG. So CPNG, it was a short. Let's go to my pre-market plans, right? So pre-market plan was bearish to short if it stays under cloud. My resistance was 22.55. Support pivot was 22. Right, so it was a good short in the morning, right? So look here, when it breaks that support pivot I gave 22, and then it faded, right? It did fade to 21.30, and again the same thing, breaks pre-market low, reclaims it, and when does that, you just get out. So I told everybody to cut the short. It's not going to work. So CPNG was another small loser. So what you might have seen in all our trades is we keep losers very small, right? If I'm losing, let's say if I'm losing like 20, 30, 40 cents, then I probably try to make $1, $1.50, right? So that's the point of all these trades and teachings that I tell you every day. All right, let's talk about dash. The midday curl setup was a dash. That dash was it was mostly on my floor discussions with my community, with my other traders. So initially, so dash, if I go back and we look at dash one, let me see if I can find it. So dash was actually supposed to be a day two setup, so I didn't have it, so I completely missed the short. A lot of traders were in the community were trading dash short. There were a lot of traders who were short in the community, but my guidance was that we are the curl, right? So Raza was really good. Raza was short since the morning. Well done by Raza. But when I saw this curl, 512 curls, that's when I told the trading floor 512 curls versus 1090. 110.90 means that's your risk, versus means risk, and after that it was just trade the curls, curl, 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 and 112 was the first target. Stops can be break even. If 112 holds, we can get some more, and we finally got up $113.50. 512 curls, 34.50 curls, and look at that dash midday curl. Beautiful, beautiful trade on dash midday curl. You can see the timestamped guidance, right? You can see the timestamps 140, and when we were curling, so you see that. So that's the time that we were curling over 512s, and this is where you long it, 1120s, or even here 111, and from 1120s all the way to 1320s, right? So that was a decent trade, for even if you got entry at 111, so it's decent trade with your risk reward, because what are you risking, right? You're risking what, 40 cents, and you're making $2. That's 1:5 reward trade. So those are the kinds of trades which we do midday in the community every day, and those are the opportunities that you need to find, right? Repeatable setups. I teach more about these in my webinars, You can check those out, and you can execute yourself. You don't need somebody to give you alerts. You can watch the system. Thousands of traders use this system successfully, and I show you the live examples, and I don't like BS or something. You see my comments here, and and a lot of times I would show you the trades, those I take as well, right? But the point is the traders are executing this. Okay, so anyways, let's go to the next one. So let's talk about Reddit now, right? So Reddit will also have a midday curl, but before that, Reddit was a short. So let's go to our game plan and see what was our plan on Reddit today. So the plan on Reddit was it was beating expectations. JP Morgan raised the target, but we don't get biased on the news. I told everyone gap fill is under 54, long over it. And what happened, right? As soon as it breaks the 54, you take the short. Told everybody short as discussed. 50 is the target. Right in the morning, I told everybody 50 is the target. You can pause the screen, see all the guidance, and we met the 50 target. We met that target in an hour, and again it bounced, still short. We met the target. So that was a short, right? And then come the 512 curls. When we covered the short, I covered the short and I said now long scalps there. I was supposed to say now, it was typo. But so anyways, after that curl alert, you see that, right? 51, then the alert came, and from 51 it pushed to 53. So it pushed to the 53. So that was a nice, $2 trade for you. Another curl setup, just like the DoorDash curl I showed you, even though I didn't short the DoorDash, but I can do the same thing with Reddit, curls, midday curls. So Reddit and DoorDash, beautiful trades, midday, nice profits, good setups. So let's talk about ANET. So next one we're going to discuss is ANET. So ANET was again kind of squeezed me because I was a little bad entry, and again it was an amateur move. So I was short on the ANET at the open, and then it swiped right back up, and then it came back up, I closed it, and then it turned bullish. So I told everybody you can now long scalp it. It has turned bullish. 296 was the target I gave everyone. Then it reclaimed that level, and then the long, where did we cover? We covered right here at 285s, 286s on the short, and then it from that time it went on to run to 296. That was like 7, 8, 9, $10 worth of push. But you can see that how that when things turn bullish, you turn bullish. It was not like a clean setup. You see that when this kind of flush happens in the pre-market, I don't like it. But if I go to 1 minute, if you short scalped in like first quick minutes, maybe you made something. But that's not what we are trying to do, because it's making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So I know it's not going to fade anymore, and it reclaimed the bullish right away. Remember what I said. We do not, either you don't trade amateur move, but we do not let our losers take out our winners. We lost $3-4 there, but we made like $8-9 to the upside. So that's how you manage your losers into winners. So now let's look at our next one, which is StarBucks. So StarBucks was all by WYNN today. He's been killing StarBucks every day. We have StarBucks every day on our day 2, day 3 sheet. You can see 72.18, 72.64 was the breakout. So once that breakout happens, it's a confirmed bullish. Just like I have been showing, just like I showed you the other day 2 setups, it's a confirmed bullish. All you need to do is long risk here, and WYNN gave the idea versus 72 risk. And then what was your risk, right? 50-60 cents, and it went on to push to 74.40s. You made like $2 risking 150 cents. There was 1 risk to 4 reward, and you scale out on the way. And I think some of the options went like 200-300%. So that was a beautiful trade by WYNN on StarBucks. And so there was a lot of yeah, you see Nancy did really good. Daniel option went 100%. So that was a nice trade on StarBucks in the community. Shout out to WYNN. So beautiful trade on StarBucks. Everybody did really good. So that was nice one in the community. You see, yeah, so even Vic is noticing it. So everybody notices our system, and that's why we long that. So next one is basically a market play. I will discuss the SPY QQQ long that I guided everybody in the morning, and then we will understand how SMCI was long, right? So let's go back to our pivots first. So the pivots first was on SMCI, the levels that I gave in the morning. Let's look here. So the levels on SMCI were 815, 821. So you see 815 is going, so it's turning bullish right over here, right? And you can actually take it right at 805 because you have defined risk at 800. But anyways, so I was on the voice, I was telling everybody it's good, it's bullish, it's over our pivots. I gave two targets in the morning, 825, 830. Right in the morning I gave those two targets and we met 830, the 825, and then I also said that it's 840 will be our next target. We met those targets as well. And this will be, you understand, will this trade when I'll discuss SPY QQQ long that I guided everybody, right? And the similar setup was AVGO. Again, AVGO, if you see that 1307 was a pivot, 1300 psychological level. So if you see that 1300 psychological level pushes 1307, that pivot breaks out, yesterday highs breakout, and AVGO was strong all day. And it was similarly with the market. You need to see what is strong in the semiconductors, because Nvidia and AMD were not that strong, right? Nvidia still gave some scalps. But now I will show you how we traded SPY QQQ long for the gap fill in the morning. So when I'm on voice in the morning, we talk about pre-market. What is the personality of the market, right? Market is gapping down. The first thing we check, market is bearish, market is gapping down. What will be our pivots? In this case, our first pivot will be the pre-market lows, and our second pivot will be the 512 clouds. So those two pivots will give us a direction. So what I'm talking about here is that PM lows held, and it's bullish, and then when it's pushing over 512s, that's when I tell everybody it's bullish. Scalp it, use the risk, low of the day as your risk. Then continuous guidance is that we are pushing over 3450, we are still good, we are holding the trend long, good long tax, that's where you long SMCI or anything that's strong. And then we pushed over 3450, and then we pushed to the pre-market highs, resistance, clockwork, and then we rejected. There was no trade after that. So the trade was this morning push, right? If you want to see about the let's look at some of the pivots we're watching, right? 516, 545. So you see that 516, 516, 45. So both those pivots was broken, right? And this was the gap, and your risk is clearly defined, right? When you see this pushing, you have like 60 70 cents risk, and you can easily trade that, even though very small ATR, very low volume, but there's still an opportunity in the market to trade these longs. That's how we were long SMCI and Nvidia. That's how they were a good long trades based upon the market push in the morning. So this gap fill trade, very important to understand. By 11 o'clock we hit like from all the way from 515 50 516, we hit 517. It's okay, small range, but still good for your 30% 40% trade on some of your calls. And so that was SPY, and a lot of traders did really good SPY and QQQ long in the community, really. So this was good. It was good in the morning. And SPY, Anthony traded SPY and AVGO. Emels traded SPY and QQQ. Hammer traded QQQ. So we, a lot of things everybody trades when the market pushes. These are the market dependent plays. But what I wanted to focus on. And then there was this this downtrend line breakout, this midday setup. So that was a midday setup right here. So that also I sent out the price alerts that we are pushing over the clouds, and that was a good trade as well. So you see, there's so many opportunities all day if you're a SPY QQQ trader. So it's this is the things you need to learn. So very happy with the community, how we traded. We were very successful trading SPY QQQ in the morning, and I'm happy with my guidance as well. So, all right, guys, that was today. Hopefully, you learned a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you want to join the community, the link should be in the description. Don't come for the alerts, come for the guidance and teachings. And we are, I'm probably going to do a webinar this week and Friday. I just have to check with our administrators. Is it like open to all, or is it just the annual members? But I will post about it tomorrow. All right, guys, take care. Later. Bye bye.